Welcome and karibuni to a room of Zanzibar. Today I'm going to share with you how I'm making this beautiful cake called Leches. Leches is basically a sponge cake that mixed in 3 types of milk. So for that I'm going to start with a sponge. My flour is sifted with a baking powder. I've got some sugar, some egg yolks and egg whites, milk and some vanilla. Now before you start, make sure that the bowl or the container you use is very clean. So you're going to clean it up with vinegar to remove all the fats, otherwise your meringue will not rise, it will be very flat. Okay, so you're going to start whipping the meringue, the egg whites, and once you get to the soft peaks, you're going to start adding the sugar gradually. This looks very fast, but it's not as fast because I have speed up the video to cut down the time. So, but the speed is on high. Okay. So once you do that, then you're gonna continue whipping your your sugar until you get the stiff peaks. But you're looking for stiff peaks that are glossy here. Because if you go further, your sponge is gonna be very, very dry. Okay, so you don't want that. And so you're gonna just continue for a few more minutes, maybe 2, and then add your eggs. Continue on a fast speed, and once the eggs are done, then you're gonna add the vanilla. And I do about 2 teaspoons. You can do however you like it, depending on, I don't like smell of eggs in my sponge. Then you're gonna add your milk. Okay, now this you're beating it like a whipping like this is creating a lot of air for your cake, and that's what's gonna make your cake rise. Okay, so now you add the flour all at once, and if you're using your hand, then you're gonna just fold in the flour because you don't want to lose the air that you have created. Okay, so I'm going slow here. You just want it slow, mix slow, and not for a long time. Actually, I decided to pull out very fast because I didn't want to take a chance. But I may have little lumps, but I can just use my spatula to fold in and make sure everything is well combined. Okay, so there are no lumps, and make sure everything is well combined. Now the pan you're gonna use, you can use a Pyrex dish or any dish that can go in the oven, because you really don't have to take out the cake from the pan. You'll see what I'm talking about later on. Okay, so if you're using the pan, you're gonna use a parchment paper, or you're gonna apply some fat and then dust it with the flour, and spread your cake evenly. And this is gonna go in the oven at 350 Fahrenheit for about 25 to 30 minutes. Once you reach 20 minutes, you want to check it out, okay, depending on your oven. So these are the 3 milks. I've got condensed milk, evaporated milk, and heavy whipping cream. And you're gonna mix this together. You can use a blender if you want, and that's what the cake is all about. So once the cake is ready, you can use an offset spatula or a knife to release it from the sides, just in case if it's stuck. And you want to make sure your cake is still warm, because the next step requires your cake to be warm, because you're going to soak it in the milk. So you want your cake to be warm for that purpose. So so I'm flipping my cake over to take it out, and just slowly and gently. And sometimes, if you don't put enough flour, it might get stuck a bit, so you just want to do this as gently as possible. And also, when the cake is still hot in the pan, it's kind of difficult to take it out, but we need it while it's still warm. Okay, so I'm just tapping it to make sure that the cake comes out. And that's it. Actually, my cake has not risen the way I wanted it to be, or maybe next time I'll use the 8. I have a recipe for 8 eggs. This is the first time I'm using the this pan for this kind of cake. Okay, I have flipped to the front side. Sorry, my camera was on pause. And you want to use a toothpick. I'm using a bamboo skewer, or you can use a fork to make holes. You're going to poke holes all over your cake, because after this you're going to use the milk, the mixture of the milk. That's the whole idea of this cake. From its name, tres leches means 3 milk. So you're going to soak your cake with the milk. Now for the you can use any kind of recipe if you have for the sponge cake. You don't have to use mine, but whatever recipe you use, make sure it does not have any butter or fat, because once you add all this milk, if the cake has fat, then it will not absorb much. It will be way too soggy. Okay, so this one, even though I have a lot of milk in here, it's not going to be soggy, because we're going to put it in the fridge for about 3 hours, and it's going to be very, very moist but not soggy. Okay, so you want to add all your milk, and I normally do 3/4 of each milk, because there's been a time where I have used 1 cup, and then I ended up with a lot of mixture, not knowing what to do with it. So, and if you need more, you can always mix some more. Okay, and also the most important thing here is sometimes it's very difficult to get the corners and the edges of the cake soaked. If normally when I do a 8-inch, I just put my milk in a big bowl and then I just dip the cake in there. It's easy, but with this size it's kind of difficult, but I'm trying my best. Okay, so once it's done, you're going to put it in the fridge for about 3 hours. Okay, so I've got my bowl here. It's it's come from the freezer. You want the bowl to be very cold, and your cream, heavy whipping cream, also to be cold. And you're going to do this for about 4 to 5 minutes only, because if you overdo it, over whip it, your milk is going to curdle and then separate, and then you're going to have some butter and some buttermilk. So this should be just fine. Actually, I think mine is a little bit over whipped. Okay, but I'll manage. Okay, and you can do a stabilized one if you are in a heat region. So now my cake is ready, and I'm getting ready to decorate it. And you don't have to decorate it if you don't want. You can just, like I say, you can bake it in a glass baking dish, and so you don't need to take it out. And if you don't want to add the cream, you can just slice it and then serve, a spoon of cream while you're serving to your guest. Okay, but I like pretty looking things, especially my desserts, so I always make sure that I decorate them and they look pretty. And so as you can see here, so this tres leches is actually from it's very well known in Latin America, South America. I'm using my cake pan as a stand here to decorate my cake, and you just want to spread it. I'm not very good in decorating, and that's why I stick to desserts. This is out of my comfort zone, but I like to give it a try because it's a practice for me. So you're gonna see all my flows. I'm not perfect. I'm like everybody else, so I still need some practice. And now if you want your cake to be very, very nice and smooth, you can take your spatula and dip it in hot water, and of course wipe it, and you're just gonna what do I say, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. So that's it, and just spread your cream, let it look nice, better than what I'm doing here. And so I'm gonna add fruits, and you can do whatever fruits you want. And sometimes I like to do coconut, so instead of the cream I use coconut milk. Okay, I use coconut milk, and I add a lot of coconut, and that's so beautiful. When I want to go tropical, then I do pineapples, and it's really, really awesome. So that's about it. I'm almost done. And you don't have to design it this way. I've just seen a cake 2 days ago that looked like this, and I really, really was dying to do it. And it's been a while. I wanted to do a video on tres leches for quite some time now, so I said this is a perfect time for me to do a tres leches and combine that design with the tres leches, because of the fruits. And yeah, so my line is not so good, but I'll manage. In cake decorating, they always say the cake decorating is very forgiving, and I think this is really right, because my skills suck, but somehow I always manage to cover it here and there with flowers, with fruits, so it looks really beautiful. And yeah, so you can do any fruits you want. And once you're done with the fruits, you're gonna put a glaze. And I do a quick glaze if I don't have a stock at home. I do apricot jam and honey, and you put the apricot jam in the microwave for about 15 seconds. It melts, and then you add honey, and you can just put that as a glaze on your fruits. And when you put a glaze on your fruits, it makes them shine and look really, really glossy, and it also prevents it from drying very fast. Okay, but this is a homemade glaze that I've made. It's actually a fruit juice and some cornstarch and gelatin, and I usually keep it in the fridge and just microwave a bit as and when I need to use it. Like, I wanted to do this cake so fast because the summer is almost, the fruits like the strawberries are almost out now, and I wanted to do this as quickly as I could. And yeah, so that's about it. And now I'm adding the what do you call, almonds. These are sliced almonds. You can do pecans, you can do walnuts. You don't have to do anything if you don't want. I like that crunchiness in my desserts. That's one of the elements I always love to have it. So I've always find a way to add some kind of nut in my desserts, and it looks beautiful. It absolutely looks beautiful. So that's about it, and I'm almost done. And I decided that I'm gonna indulge in this cake tonight. By the way, this is Wednesday, and I did this Wednesday, that's last night, and today's Thursday morning, and I'm almost done with this video. This is the fastest videos I have ever done in editing, So that's a beautiful slice of cake. It's big. Next time I'm gonna make small boxes, because this is a huge slice of cake, but it's worth my workout. Okay, so well, here it is, and you can see inside it's nice and sticky, but not very soggy. Thank you, and for more details, please visit me at Aroma of Zanzibar.